Can we just be honest for a minute and say that this sucks? Like, really, it sucks. What is it? It is the government shutdown, which has been happening since October 1st, which is just about a month ago as I record this. And obviously this has a ton of ramifications for the country, the world, yada, 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 all that stuff. But what's relevant to this channel is that the 2025 airshow season, I'm not going to say it's over, but it's kind of probably over. With the government shut down, that means that all of the military demonstrations, the single ship demos like the F-35, F-22, Rhino, Viper, all them, as well as the demonstration teams like the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels, they do not do public demonstrations while the government shutdown is happening. For the Blue Angels, the last show that they did was in Miramar over a month ago now. They weren't at San Francisco Fleet Week, which is a show that they do every single year. They are still flying, though. If you're plugged into the Blue Angels social media world, you know that they're practicing nearly every day back at their home base at Pensacola. And I want to give a special shout out to all the people who are filming videos and taking photos of their practices. It really does help connect the community at a time where everyone feels pretty disconnected. So thank you. You may ask, like, why are the Blue Angels flying right now when the government is shut down? Not everything shuts down when the government shuts down. There's still critical functions that need to happen. One of them being the military, obviously. We need to be able to defend ourselves. And you could say the Blue Angels are not relevant to that part of it because they aren't in combat. But the Blue Angels mission is to recruit and retain people to the Navy and Marine Corps, as well as inspire a culture of excellence across the country and, service to country and all that stuff. And they can't do that mission if they are unable to perform their demo. Right, so if the government shutdown were to end tomorrow, which it's probably not going to, but if it were to end tomorrow, they need to be able to jump right back in. They're not going to be able to do that if they haven't flown in a month. It's just not possible. If you think about, you're doing really intense strength training or you're training for a marathon or something like that, you need to work out basically every day in order to get to a point where you can do something that requires that level of physical prowess. Now multiply that by 6 and then maybe a couple more on top of that because of the complexity of what the team does. What they do is hard. It's really hard. I mean, you think to their training in El Centro, they spend 2 to 3 months before the show season starts flying twice a day, 6 times a week, just to get to the point where they can take it on the road. And from there, they're still flying nearly every day. I think they get 1 day off a week where they're not flying, but it's not like punishment, right? It's necessary. We talked a little bit about this when I did a video last year about the one time a Blue Angel jet landed on an aircraft carrier. There's something called currency. You need to be able to demonstrate that you can land on an aircraft carrier, and you need to keep doing it regularly. Otherwise, you lose your currency and you have to requalify. It's kind of something similar with the team, except even more difficult than landing on an aircraft carrier, if you can believe it. 6 pilots, 6 jets, hundreds of tons flying through the air at hundreds of miles an hour, and they're 12 to 18 inches apart. Oh, and by the way, do it in front of thousands of people, innocent spectators on the ground. Safety is the number one most important thing that the team always focuses on. If they can't do the demo safely, they don't do the demo. And they can't do the demo safely if they haven't flown in weeks or months. This actually happened back in 2004. If you've seen the documentary Blue Angels: A Year in the Life, which I guess is now somehow 20 years old, they had to stand down for 2 weeks because of Hurricane Ivan, which hit Pensacola. And the team basically didn't fly for 2 weeks, and they had to then spend a significant amount of time in El Centro, actually, practicing and getting back up to speed. And I don't know if they ever got to the level that they would have been at if they hadn't taken that break. So that's why they're out there. In the event that the shutdown ends tomorrow, they need to be able to jump back in the jets and finish out their season. Now, would they finish out the season at this point? It's looking unlikely. The Homecoming show is 2 weeks from as I'm recording this. I don't think this shutdown is going to be over in 2 weeks. At this point, they're probably not going to be able to end their season. And there are a ton of ramifications for that. There are some that are obvious and some that are not so obvious. One of the not so obvious ones that I think about is the khaki newbies. They're the people who are going to be on the team next year. At this point in the season, they're embedded with the team. They're traveling with the team. They are going show site to learn how this massive operation of getting hundreds of people from one location to another every single week, how that all works. Now, you could argue maybe they're getting more time with the current team members to learn how to fly the demo, so they might get a leg up on that aspect. And knowing the team, that's probably what's happening. But they're missing out on all that experience of being on the road, which is the sort of it's all novel. Being on the Blue Angels is all kind of novel, but that's one of the more novel aspects that they're just missing out on entirely. But probably the saddest effect of all this is the people who are in their final year on the team, who this is supposed to be the end of their season, that they're going out with a bang, and they're probably not going to get to do that. We focus a lot on the pilots, so there's Rico, there's Trash, and Franz, obviously. They're just the tip of the spear, right? There are tons of maintenance personnel, support officers, Fat Albert guys, like Sam Petco, he's the M1. All these people are not going to get the opportunity that everyone before them has had to end their season with the homecoming show and basically showcase to their family, friends, and all the locals of Pensacola, the people who support them, what they've been able to accomplish in 2 to 3 years on the team. It's really impressive, and they're not going to get that opportunity. Now, before you jump in the comments to eviscerate me, I am fully aware that there are plenty of other issues related to this shutdown that are much more life and death. Right? There are people who are not going to receive SNAP benefits and they're going to lose their health care. And I'm not looking to debate whether or not people should have those in the first place. That's not the purpose of this channel. The point is, people who had certain things are no longer going to have those things. And those things are very important to their livelihood. And we're talking about like kids here, right? There's kids who are going to be looking for food. Like this is real deal stuff. In addition, there are a ton of federal employees who are not currently getting paid. Members of the military, including people on these teams, are about to join them. They got a paycheck 2 weeks ago. I think they're supposed to get one at the end of the month. But beyond that, it's very likely that service members are not going to get paid pretty soon. They will get back pay, presumably, when this is over, whenever it's over, but that doesn't help right now when you need to put food on the table, you need to pay rent, whatever it is. You need money coming in, and that's going to go away potentially pretty soon. I'm not making this video to minimize any of that. Just to be clear, I'm a taxpayer. And if you're a U.S. citizen, presumably, you're paying your taxes too. And part of your taxes go to having those jets in the air, and they're not right now because of politics. We are allowed to be a little upset about that, I think. And I realize the irony of me spending a video complaining while wearing a glad to be here shirt, right? I am glad to be here. This community is incredible. And I just wanted to make this video, to voice kind of what the community is feeling. Like it's a bummer. Thank you for bearing with me. I know it's been a while since I made a video. In case it wasn't obvious, I'm in a new location right now. I actually moved across the country over the summer, and as you can imagine, there was a lot of stuff to deal with when you're talking about a family, a wife, 2 kids, a dog, and a house full of stuff that had to travel 3,000 miles. It's been a lot. But now we're kind of settled in, and I expect that I will have a lot more time to be making videos. So I hope to see you again on the next one. I'm Evan with Aerospace Horizons, and I'm glad to be here.